So, with The Witcher Season 2 Netflix show coming in less than a week, I have decided to make a video with some sort of effort. I tried to put more effort into it. Like, there's a lot of thinking that was behind it, but I just couldn't be asked to prepare, like, properly, like, an edit video. I hate editing, so this is why you're currently looking at Photoshop. Because I hate editing videos. It is so boring and dull, but I also want to give you a lot of information. Well, in my opinion, not so much information, but also a lot of information, with some sort of visuals to help you process all of the information. So I just decided to go with Photoshop. I know I could have gone with PowerPoint, but that, in my view, is more effort than I'm willing to give it. So here's my Photoshop. I hope you like it. I hope you like the layout. I mean, I don't give a shit if you like the layout. It's my layout. I like it. Through that, my ambition is to give you the information that you would need to watch Season 2. Because The Witcher Season 1, as alright as it was, it really wasn't establishing the world very well. Like, if you haven't read the books, you had no chance of knowing what was happening, what would when happen, and just, you would know who the main characters are, but the main story focuses on one specific character, and she didn't really get much screen time, or not as much as others. So, with all of that, I am now here to give you, where is it? Also, so yeah, I'm not going to edit any of this. So if I get lost in any of my incredible amount of layers, because I'm just insane, it's gonna be in the video. I'm not editing it out. Just fuck that. I'm just gonna leave it as it is. So, with all of that said, I am going to tell you stuff you should know for Netflix Witcher Season 2 without watching Season 1. Just so you don't get confused. Just very, very simple basics. Like, to me, all of this is incredibly simple, but also, I have read all the books, I've watched the film several times, I read all the comic books, or at least the latest comic books. I am wanting to get a hold of the... I don't think they were actually translated into English or any other languages but Polish. But those are comic books from the 90s, and I really want to read them and get my hands on them because they have some really interesting races and characters in them that I would like to get to know better. I've played all the video games. I have pre-ordered a Gwent deck without knowing that whether I would like it or not, and surprise, surprise, I don't like it because I don't like deck building games. It's basically, for those who don't know what Gwent deck is, in honesty, you don't need to know. It's just a card game that's in the Witcher universe, basically. And I played and I run games in the tabletop roleplay game The Witcher by Talsorian Games. So, and obviously I've seen the Netflix TV show. That's kind of a given. So my knowledge is really, really massive, with no bragging. It is genuinely just a statement. Like, I spent so much time and looked up so many things on the Witcher wiki, that I went so deep on that wiki that I found lizard people. That's how much knowledge I have. So with that, let's start with the basics, and I'll try not to overwhelm you with the information, and just keep it with the basics, keep it for the Season 2, and just what you need to know so you don't get lost, similarly to Season 1. So, the Witcher world is a low fantasy world. That is low fantasy. And the difference between low fantasy and high fantasy is that in low fantasy there is a little bit of realism. Like, they do have magic, which is definitely not real, sadly, But in in a high fantasy world, everyone can use it. It's not a problem. There are no repercussions, basically. In a low fantasy world, the magic has some consequences and a lot of limitations. In The Witcher specifically, magic is basically chaos. And mages try to tame the chaos and channel it through them, thus creating magic and spells. It is incredibly exhausting. It has killed many mages, and there is always a chance that it will hurt you if you underestimate a spell. So, yeah, it's also, a lot of people have been comparing The Witcher to Game of Thrones. Now, Witcher is not, right? It's not. Hang on. It is not Game of Thrones. No. It's there is nudity, there is sex, definitely. There is violence, there is racism, so much racism actually. But only, not in the Netflix show, they try to keep it simple, but I'll get back to the racism, don't worry. There is magic, there are dragons-ish, and there's a lot of politics, and it's a dark universe, yes, but that's where the similarities end. The Witcher is a completely different universe. It is based on books, just like Game of Thrones, but the books are completely different than the Game of Thrones books. Game of Thrones mostly, as far as I'm aware, they focus mostly on the politics. The Witcher focuses on one specific character, and it's a character-driven story. But I just like The Witcher, okay? And it's not the same. It's there are differences. So let's start with just some basic races in the world. So we've got humans, just regular town folk, and then we've got non-humans. And now humans, they absolutely hate non-humans. Boo, boo, boo. They absolutely hate non-humans. Quite often, humans refer to non-humans as monsters, just because they are. This is the racism. This is the racist bit of it. The humans are racist towards non-humans. Well, any non-humans. And the non-humans, because they are being oppressed by humans, they quite often share the hatred back. And there's a lot of violence with it, and some really bad things can happen. But if you are not a racist human or a non-human, then you would know that these non-humans also divide into elves, dwarves, and halflings. It's fairly simple. Elves just have pointy ears, have their own culture, blah 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 blah. Tree people. Well, not tree people. There are dryads who are actually tree people. But never mind that. Elves, our typical elves. Dwarves are typical dwarves. They're short. They live in the mountains. They are really good smelters most of the time. And they can also cheat you really, really well. And then halflings. My best comparison or description of halflings in the Witcher world would be hobbits. Roughly the same age span, very similar looks, maybe apart from the maybe apart from the feet, right? No feet, no, just no hairy feet. But apart from that, the halflings are basically hobbits. Roughly live to up to 150 years. They have pointy ears. They are short, but not as short as dwarves. And they are just about as hated by all of the others as anyone else. And then, on top of all of this, we have witchers. There we go. Haha. I'm good at editing. Yay! We have witchers who are, well, they are mutants. They are considered non-human as well because they are different. Now, they started as humans and they were taken by other witches from their families and, well, then they were trained to fight, to evade, to cast spells. They are sort of, well, they are mutants. They have undergone a really, really painful, really traumatic trial to mutate them into what they are. So the eyes that you see here, those are cat-like eyes, or they should be cat-like eyes. I'm not going to go on to that for the Witcher Netflix show. So those should be cat-like eyes, nice and yellow, which should help them see in the dark. Witches are also much faster when it comes to fighting, attacking, running, anything like that. They have much faster reflexes, they are stronger, and they are generally a very, very good fighters. And that has a reason, because witches are specifically trained and mutated so that they stand a chance against the monsters. See, this is this over here, that's a witcher, and he's fighting a monster. So witches are supposed to fight monsters and there's so many monsters in the world. That's kind of the main premise. There's this world, it's a very dark world, it's basically medieval Poland, but in the Netflix TV show, because it was made by Netflix, it kind of mostly just likes a American idea of a medieval town, well, world. I can't even say Poland. And there's a lot of monsters, and some monsters, like this little boy, well, it's a Kikimora for anyone who would be interested, but yeah, there's a lot of lore behind monsters. But some monsters, very simply, they try to kill you, they look like monsters, and they are absolutely awful. You want a witcher to deal with that monster so that you can continue living. Some other monsters, however, they look like humans. They are clearly intelligent, they are sapient, they are self-aware, they have consciousness, they look like humans, they act like humans, they can live in a society and never be considered different from anyone else. But they actually are monsters. Now, I don't want to go into this, but my god, what have they done to you? What has Netflix done to you? You're not supposed to have these limbs. You're not supposed to have this few limbs. You're supposed to have another leg. There you go. There you go. Now you're fixed. What has Netflix done to one of my favorite characters from the entire series? Anyway, so some monsters, they look like monsters, they want to kill you, and other monsters, they don't. They can fit into society really well until they actually show that they are monsters. And there's plenty of these. And now some witches refuse to kill these monsters. Like here we can see Geralt, one of the witches, with the monster. Clearly it's a monster. And, well, he's not going to kill him. I should have probably exclaimed, there are going to be, say, some spoilers to season 1, but since you are not watching season 1, or you have seen already season 1 and you are looking for some guidance on what the fuck is going on and how am I supposed to know what will happen, or what's gonna happen in season 2, yeah, I don't think you really mind like that much. I'm also trying to use as many pictures and references from the Netflix TV show to give you a better idea rather than using anything from the books, from the comic books, or from the TV show. Oh yeah, I've also seen the anime. I don't know how I could have forgotten about that, probably because it's so new, so recent, but yeah. So some witches just refuse to kill these sapient monsters, and sentient, more like sentient monsters, because generally they don't have malicious intentions, and quite often, and sometimes, like this guy, this amazing person, they sometimes are far more powerful than the witches are, and they genuinely, like, the witches would not stand a chance. But yeah, so that's just a little bit of a background for the races and the basic world, well, the basic premise of the Witcher universe. Now, the world. So the world of The Witcher is it looks like this. This is a map. This is a map from the game, from one of the video games. And don't worry, Susan, I censored this bit, so it is children safe. It's safe for children. I don't know if the previous one made grammatical sense, but it is safe for children. There should be no nudity in my video. I can't remember all of the pictures that I put in, but I'm pretty sure that there is no nudity. Anyway, so here we can see the basic map of the Witcher world. The Witcher world, as far as we know, is called a continent, which you can also see over here why it's called that, because it's just one big landmass, aside from these few islands here that we don't need to pay attention to. But the very basic division of the world is that here in the north there are the northern kingdoms, and in the south is Nilfgaard. Now, Nilfgaard is very big, and to give you an idea of how big it is, yeah, it's this big. So the what we can see here in the bigger bit of the map is what we see here. And this little bit of Nilfgaard is this little bit of Nilfgaard. So, actually, can you see my mouse? I don't think you can see my cursor, so I'm basically just pointing randomly, and you can't see anything, right? So let me just show you. So, what we see here is what we see here, and this little bit of Nilfgaard is this little bit of Nilfgaard. So there's this entire bit of Nilfgaard that we just don't know or don't see. That's how big Nilfgaard is. It is absolutely massive. In fact, it goes even further down. We don't actually know where Nilfgaard ends. And the capital, I think, is somewhere around here. And they just refuse. Actually, no, it's further down. I think it's somewhere around here. The the City of the Golden Towers, I think it's called, something like that. So it's just, no, I think it might be here, and that doesn't matter. So we have no idea how far Nilfgaard goes. It is just, we just know it's massive and it's incredibly powerful, and it wants to take over anyone else. So for the Northern Kingdoms, those are small little kingdoms, and they have kings and queens. Nilfgaard is one united empire, and it has an emperor. The Emperor of Nilfgaard, Emir Var Emrys, which is probably a name you should remember, but don't worry about it if you don't. I'm pretty sure that the show will bring the name up quite often enough. And then there is also another country, which is called Zerrikania. I'm literally just putting it here in case it gets mentioned in the season 2, because it might do, it might not. Zerrikania is a world somewhere over here. Again, I could probably can't see. Somewhere over here, beyond this, which is called the Korath Desert. But we don't have to think about that. What we need to think about is Nilfgaard and the Northern Kingdoms. Because Nilfgaard, pretty much like the British, they really like to invade everyone and everything. So they, with their massive army, they go and they clash with the Northern Kingdoms. They do wage a war against them. Now, and here we can see that, and I'll zoom in for this. So, a few places that you should know where the war has been, because in The Witcher Season 1, we had the beginning of one of the Nilfgaardian wars, and it began here in Cintra. Now, Cintra is something you should remember. That is a very important country. It used to be a kingdom. It was very important, very powerful, and very wealthy, and it fell to Nilfgaard. Then there are the next most important bit would be Sodden, which is part of this kingdom, which is Temeria. Now, the Battle of Sodden, and specifically of Sodden Hill, is something that was in the first season, and I will talk about it a bit later. But essentially, yeah, here is Sodden Hill. Essentially, Nilfgaard is trying to invade all of the northern kingdoms. It managed to already claim Cintra. Ages ago, it claimed Angren and Riverdale, but no one gives a shit about that. So now the main line of combat is here down the river Yaruga. And the river Yaruga is what separates the northern kingdoms from Nilfgaard, but sometimes Nilfgaard pushes, and other times the northern kingdom pushes. But yeah, remember Cintra and remember Sodden, or respectively Sodden Hill. Those are the 2-3 most important bits that I will talk about later. Next, we have characters. Oh, I need to zoom in properly. Haha, I'm good at this. I totally don't suck at this. I'm alright at this. So next we have characters. There we go. So, the main characters of Season 1 and Season 2, basically the main characters of the main plot. First one is Geralt, specifically Geralt of Rivia. He's not actually from Rivia, it's just a thing that just a name that he chose, but don't mind that. Geralt. It's not Gerald, it's Geralt. Just to let you know, just so you don't upset anyone. He is a witcher. He's also called the White Wolf, the Windblade, the Butcher of Blaviken, etc., etc. He is just as many witches. He is feared, he is hated, and quite often people do let him know about that. Even though he is one who actually gives a shit about people, and he kills monsters for those people to save the people. But he's a witcher. He has white hair, which is not common for witches, or it is not regular. His hair turned white when he underwent all the mutations to make him a witcher. It is just an extra mutation that took place for him, and he was even more hated and more of a outsider than before. Next one is Ciri, also known as Cyrilla Fiona Ellen Rhiannon of Cintra, also known as the Cab of Cintra. She is, would you believe it, she is from Cintra. You know, the town that we were talking, well, not the town, the kingdom that we were talking about that was taken by Nilfgaard. So Ciri, she is the Cab of Cintra, she is the princess of Cintra, and the only, as far as we are aware, the only surviving member of the family. Now, why is she called the Cab of Cintra? It's because of her. This is Calanthe, also known as the Lioness of Cintra. She was the last queen of Cintra before it was taken over by Nilfgaard, and she died during the Nilfgaardian invasion. She was a extremely powerful queen. She was, like, there was so much sexism towards her because she was a queen, you know, because a pair of boobs apparently stops you from being a competent monarch. So she was incredibly competent, she was incredibly good, an amazing warrior, a respected queen, and she was feared. She made Cintra powerful and wealthy. And she was the reason why it was so difficult to conquer Cintra in the first place. Or why everyone wanted to be related to Cintra one way or another. Now, she is Ciri's, Ciri. This is Ciri. So, she is Ciri's grandmother. Now, why? Well, so, if a Lioness of Cintra has a granddaughter, why is the granddaughter called the Cub of Cintra and not the Lioness's daughter? Now, that is because the daughter, Pavetta, was she was never a monarch, and she's kind of like on the outside. We don't really care much about her. But anyway, Ciri's mother, Pavetta, wasn't really there for her. It was Calanthe who brought up Ciri and who took care of her as if she was her own daughter, which is why Ciri is often referred to as the Cub of Cintra, basically closer as a daughter rather than granddaughter to Calanthe. Now, I already suggest a little bit on this, so let's just start on this. Now, Pavetta, Ciri's mum, and then Duny, also known as the Hedgehog, is Ciri's father. There was quite a big thing about all of this. Now, Duny, well, you can see why he was called the Hedgehog. It may seem all of this irrelevant, but trust me, this is something you should know, at least like some basics, like in the back of your mind, in case it comes up in the show, because it might. So Pavetta and Duny were lost at sea, I believe. They are currently missing, presumed dead. Now, Duny, he was called, well, you can see why he was called Hedgehog, and he wasn't a monster. He was cursed to look like a monster. So curses are quite a big thing in The Witcher, and don't worry, the curse was lifted. Yes, it was. The curse was lifted. So he didn't look like this all the time. So those are Ciri's parents. So Ciri, the second main character. And third one is Yennefer. Specifically Yennefer of Vengerberg, but no one needs to know that. So it's Yennefer, it's not Jennifer. No, it is not Jennifer, it's Yennefer. You see the why? It has a reason. Yennefer is a mage. She is a sorceress and incredibly powerful one. Her main characteristics are that she has black hair, she has violet eyes, and she always dresses in black and white. She's also a manipulative bitch. But, well, we don't know how well it's going to be portrayed in the season 2, but we'll see. So Yennefer is a sorceress, an incredibly powerful sorceress, and currently after season 1 she is missing. We have no idea what happened to her, where she went, or what the fuck is going on. Yennefer is, on and off partner with Geralt. So them two, they like each other. Well, I'll get more on that. And Ciri is, Geralt's basically adoptive daughter, because after Cintra gets invaded, Ciri runs away, and Geralt, they find each other. I'll get to the main plot. I'm getting ahead of myself. So the three main characters, just to recap, are Geralt of Rivia, Ciri, and Yennefer. Three main characters. Then we have secondary characters, which is Triss, here shown with Ciri, but that doesn't matter. You don't have to think about Ciri here. Just think about Triss. She is also a sorceress, a very powerful one, and currently, after season 1, she is missing, presumed dead. So yeah, that's that. Triss's characteristics are that she's a powerful sorceress, and she has chestnut hair, which is her defining mark, her defining feature, and her pride. Which is what makes me so happy that they actually fixed her. But anyway. Next one is Vilgefortz. He's also a sorcerer. There's a lot of sorcerers in here. Now he's a sorcerer. He's a powerful sorcerer. And I'm trying to keep this friendly for season 1 and season 2. He helped a lot of people, and then during one of the battles, he fell. He hit himself on the head and fell unconscious, and when he was conscious, he started fighting, kind of in rage. No idea why. No idea what's happening there, but that's essentially where season 1 left him. But we'll definitely see more of him, that I can assure you of. And now my so far favorite character, I have basically four favorite characters, and so far only 2 of them got introduced, and one of them was fucked up, and by Netflix. And by the way, there was where is he? Where is he? He's somewhere. He's somewhere in this mess. That was blah 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 blah. Him, right? Him. He's one of my favorite characters. He got fucked up, so let's just not count him in. So apart from him, there are another 3 of my favorite characters. 2 of them have not been introduced yet, and I cannot wait to have them introduced. I really can't wait, but that's probably going to be in about season 3, season 4. It's not going to be any earlier than that. So, the only character that I really like and has been introduced is also one of the main secondary characters, and that's Jaskier. So, oh, look at his pretty face. Jaskier is a bard. He's a human, and he hangs out with Geralt quite a lot. They go on adventures together, and usually Jaskier falls into some sort of trouble. Geralt has to get him out of that trouble, and then Jaskier writes a song about all of this, but makes it look like it was the Witcher falling into trouble and the bard himself getting him out of it. He wrote the song Toss a Coin to Your Witcher, which became a massive hit back when season 1 aired, and I still have it as my ringtone, so I definitely recommend looking up that song. It is absolutely brilliant in my opinion. It also actually recaps one of the episodes in season 1. So this is Jaskier, also known as Dandelion or Marigold for my Czech friends. And all of this is these different names are only because of the translations. So in the original Polish translation, in the original Polish, it was Jaskier. In English, it's Dandelion. In Czech, it's Marigold for whatever reason. I still, to this day, I don't understand why they made him Marigold. It should just be Jaskier, honestly. It's not really that much of a problem. But anyway, so this is Jaskier. They refer to him as Jaskier in the show, which makes me extremely happy. And if you don't like him now, I mean, he gets so much less. In the second season, my god, I cannot wait to actually see him. He gets some really nice coat, and he gets a nice hat, and he gets so much prettier. But he's a womanizer. I wouldn't recommend falling in love with him or getting a crush on him. I never had a crush on Jaskier until Witcher season 2. So thank you, Netflix. Thank you so much. I hate myself for liking Jaskier like this. But anyway. Also, Jaskier is also known as Julian Alfred Pancraz, the Viscount of Lettenhove. He is quite keen on that name. It is his actual name, and Jaskier is his kind of like a nickname. But yeah, we'll keep him as Jaskier. So that's those are the characters, the main characters. Now, a thing that I should talk about is Destiny. Destiny is yes, this is where I kind of gave up on planning all this out and actually giving you some visuals, and I'll just draw everything else. So Destiny is a really big thing in The Witcher. It's basically, if you are destined for something, you will do it, you will get it, you will get... If you're destined to be somewhere, you will get there even if you try to avoid it. Destiny is a really big thing, and you cannot avoid it by any shape, mean, or form. It's just gonna happen. And the subsequent... the subsidiary of Destiny would be the Law of Surprise. Now, this is a really big thing, especially in The Witcher. Essentially, the Law of Surprise is that if, say someone saves your life and you don't have any way to repay them for that, you don't have any money, you don't have any goods, you genuinely just have your own life, or you don't feel like you have anything to repay them with, then you can invoke the Law of Surprise, which is a common knowledge of what it is. Now, the Law of Surprise, when you invoke it and the person accepts it, you are now bound by Destiny to give this person whatever you have, but you are not aware of. So it can be a bracelet, it can be a house, it can be a dog, it can be a cart, a horse, or it can be your child. Yeah, it's and it's inevitable. So just to show you, give you an idea. So Geralt, whoops, that's not Geralt, that's Jaskier. Geralt, he saved Calanthe's husband's life. Oh no. I mean, no. There was actually let's forget about Geralt. So Dune, this guy, he saved Pavetta's, this girl's, her father's life, which happened to be Calanthe's husband. So because Dune saved Pavetta's father's life, Pavetta's father then invoked the Law of Surprise to thank Dune for all of this. And when he came back to Calanthe, he found out that she was pregnant, she had a child, and this child was Pavetta. So Dune was destined to have Pavetta because of the Law of Surprise. Then Geralt saved Dune's life, and Dune invoked Law of Surprise, which turned up to be Ciri. So Ciri is now destined for Geralt. However, unlike Pavetta and Dune, Geralt and Ciri never get together. Please do not ever think about any of that. This is not that type of relationship. Please do not. No, this is bad. No. Ciri is basically Geralt's adoptive daughter. Geralt at first tries to avoid it. He really doesn't want any of that. He is not interested, because usually when witches get a child from the Law of Surprise, they usually take the child to their own fortress, and there they train the child to become another witcher. However, Ciri is a girl. As I said, this world is very sexist and racist. But Ciri is a girl, and so far no girl has been known to have survived the mutations, the series of mutations that would make a witcher. So if Ciri would undergo these mutations, she would most likely die. I mean, even if she was a boy, there would be probably a 20% chance that she would survive. It's really, really low chances of survival, which is why there are so few witches. So Geralt at first didn't want Ciri, but eventually, because of destiny, them two meet each other, and they go off into the sunset at the end of season 1. So yeah, there's like the law of surprise is a really big thing, and no matter what you do, you will like destiny will bring it to you. So that's another thing. And now the last thing, let me just go over all of this. Yeah, that should be the last thing, and that is the plot. So, the plot. The plot is fine. Everything is fine. All of this is fine. Why is this not showing? Why is this not showing? What the heck? What's going on? Why aren't you showing? You should be showing. You're not showing. Why aren't you showing? Are you showing? You're not showing. Oh well, it's not showing. My reaction somehow got do you show? You do. Do you show? You do. Do you show? You do. Do you show? Yes, you do. Why? Why? Why doesn't this show? Is it because it's not rasterized? Nope. It is because I turned the opacity down. This is fine. So, yeah, that's basically the plot. Everything's on fire, everyone's fucked. The end. No, seriously though. So, where do I begin? So in season 1, Cintra, where Ciri is, and Calanthe, and all of them, Cintra gets attacked by Nilfgaard. Then Ciri manages to escape. She is destined to find Geralt of Rivia because she is essentially his child of surprise, or child surprise. So she should go to him. She tries to find him. Instead, she finds a lot of bad people who try to get her, kill her, do really bad things to her, and she's only 11.
About the food we were promised.
There was my alarm to remind me that I should have food. I'll have it after this. So, Ciri is all of that. She is running away, trying to avoid all of the war. Like, there is currently a full-blown war between Nilfgaard and the Northern Kingdoms. And Nilfgaard is looking for Ciri. Ciri has incredible powers, which essentially she is able to control magic. Well, she's unable to control it, but she has really big powers of magic, and she inherited them after her mother, who inherited them from her grandmother, who inherited them from her ancestors, and so on and so forth. And it goes down really ancient line, which was thought to be gone. But Ciri is the last surviving member of that line, and everyone wants a piece of it, basically. So Ciri is running away. She's trying to find Geralt. Geralt is trying to find Ciri, and on the way he finds Jaskier. Geralt and Jaskier then have adventures together, and all of that. Well, Geralt actually knew Jaskier way before that. It doesn't matter. So Geralt is looking for Ciri. Ciri is looking for Geralt, and there's this massive ass war between Nilfgaard and the Northern Kingdoms on the background. And Nilfgaard is trying to get Ciri. Some of the people from the Northern Kingdoms are trying to get Ciri. Mages are trying to get Ciri so that they can train her to control the magic. Then all the bandits want Ciri. Anyone wants Ciri because so people either want her because she's a royal blood, she's rich, She's the only heir of Cintra, and she could unite Cintra and get her back from the oppression of Nilfgaard. Nilfgaard wants Ciri so that they can get her to marry the Emperor and, you know, become the actual... and so that the Empire of Nilfgaard can stop the uprisings in Cintra and properly consider Cintra as their territory. And a lot of other people want Ciri for many other reasons. I'm not gonna go into any more of these, mainly because of spoilers. So, long story short, Geralt finds Ciri, and they end up just... actually, he finds her by yet another law of surprise. As I said, law of surprise is a really big thing. So, yeah, and there's this war, and then the mages, they try to... because I haven't mentioned Yennefer at all in the meantime. Because Yennefer has her own small little story in season 1. It's basically just it tells how she came to her powers and how she was training to become a sorceress. But in all honesty, none of it is relevant. All we know is that she's a powerful sorceress. She has a lot of trauma and a lot of abuse, and that's it. Actually, most of the people were abused in The Witcher. Anyway, so Yennefer is a really, really powerful mage. She and all of the other sorcerers and sorceresses are trying to stop Nilfgaard because they really don't like the way it went, and how Nilfgaard is trying to, well, take over literally everything and everyone. So there's the Battle of Sodden Hill. You know, remember how I told you to remember that? Yeah, Sodden Hill over here. So is it this layer? It'll be this layer. So Sodden Hill well, it's not in Sodden. Sodden is here, but Sodden Hill, Battle of Sodden Hill. That is where all the mages, they gather on the Sodden Hill, and there they try and fight the Nilfgaardian Empire, which is trying to take over this entire thing. So the mages gather there, and they fight Nilfgaard. And thanks to Yennefer, who literally turns everything on fire, thanks to Yennefer, Nilfgaard is pushed back, and they win the Battle of the Sodden Hill with massive, massive casualties, to which I'm not gonna go into because I know that season 2 is going to pick up from that and then try and find the rest of the characters. But Yennefer is currently missing, Triss is currently missing, presumed dead, and many, many other... Well, Vilgefortz, who knows what the fuck happened to him. And basically everyone is missing, presumed dead. It was a very, very bad and bloody battle, but in the end it was won by Yennefer, so yay, congrats Yennefer, well done. And that's essentially where it was all left. Geralt went off with Ciri, and Yennefer is who knows where. She might be okay, she might not be okay. The spell was absolutely exhausting, and she could have died just from that, because the channeling of the chaos of the magic could have been far too much. But she's also a main character, so who knows. So that's probably where I can leave it with. This is genuinely the most basic explanation I can give you to prepare you for Witcher Season 2. And, you know what, I hope you enjoyed. I certainly did. I hope you also enjoyed my amazing Photoshop presentation. If you like it. If you want to subscribe. I don't usually do these videos. I usually just put drawing time lapses. So if you would be interested in any of that, just check out my channel. I'm really only just starting, and my uploads are very inconsistent because I genuinely just do this for fun. So yeah, if you like it, you like it. If you want to subscribe, go ahead. And I'll see you in the next one.